At 6:35 in the morning, an Israeli F-35 Adir was 2 minutes into a strike run over Tehran when something appeared on its targeting system that nobody was expecting. Low altitude, moving fast. Heading straight toward an aircraft Israel absolutely could not afford to lose. The F-35's electro-optical targeting system swung toward the contact, infrared first. 2 hot engine signatures from a twin engine. Platform. Then the image sharpened into focus. Single tail, swept wing, side-by-side 2-seat canopy. This was a Yakovlev Yak-130. NATO calls it the Mitten. The Yak-130 was built to train Russian pilots how to fly real combat jets. Think of it as a learner's permit version of an Su-30. But Iran had changed that. They bolted R-73 infrared homing missiles to the pylons and wired the aircraft's helmet-mounted sighting system for high, off-bore sight targeting. The R-73 can lock a target up to 45 degrees, off the missile center line. The pilot does not need to point his nose at you, he just needs to look in your general direction. Against an F-35, that is a problem worth solving. Against an Israeli Hermes 900, reconnaissance drone with no idea it is being hunted, it is more than lethal. 6 miles ahead of the Yak-130, a $10 million Hermes 900 was doing exactly what it had done every single day of this war, orbiting at medium altitude. Sensors pointed at the ground, feeding real-time targeting, coordinates to every strike aircraft in the wave. The Hermes 900 is Israel's eyes over the battlefield, a 36-foot drone built by Elbit. Systems that can loiter for 30 hours, feeding precise coordinates to strike. Aircraft through satellite data link. Without it, $500 million worth of precision munitions becomes expensive debris, dropped on the wrong coordinates. The problem is it tops out at 120 knots. It cannot run, it cannot fight back. Every F-15 waiting for aim points. Every bomb in the queue depending on the slowest asset in the sky. On the targeting display, the Yak-130's exhaust plumes pushed steadily toward the Hermes orbit. At current heading and speed, the Iranian aircraft would reach R-73 range. In under 5 minutes, inside the Yak-130's rear cockpit, the weapons officer watched the Hermes drift across his scope like a slow-moving target. In an arcade game, fat radar return, 12,000 feet, holding its orbit with the patience of something that does not know it is about to get deleted. He called range to the pilot. 30 kilometers and closing. The pilot eased the nose down, setting up the classic drone intercept profile they had rehearsed 100 times. Below the Hermes angled up. R-73 seeker looking, straight at the drone's engine exhaust. One look, one squeeze. Back in the Adir, 3 countdowns started, running simultaneously. 5 minutes before the Yak-130 reaches R-73 range on the Hermes. Close enough for the Iranian weapons officer to fire and erase Israel's eyes over Tehran. 14 minutes of fuel before the tanks run dry and the pilot is forced to brake west for the tanker track over Iraq. 9 minutes left in his assigned strike. Corridor before the next wave of Israeli jets comes through the exact same airspace he is about to abandon. 3 countdowns, ticking at different speeds, all of them converging on the same conclusion. He was running out of time in 3 different ways at once. The ground targets on his original strike list would have to wait. The Hermes could not, but the Yak-130 was not what worried him. A subsonic trainer versus the most advanced fighter on the planet is not a fight that sells tickets. Everything around the Yak-130 worried him. Intelligence briefings said the Iranians flew Yak-130s alongside MiG-29 Fulcrums. Proper air superiority fighters, carrying R-27 medium-range missiles and the same. R-73s on a platform fast enough to actually use them. The Yaks are the bait. The Fulcrums hit whatever comes to stop them. This Yak appeared to be alone, but it was not. A MiG-29 running dark, radar off, infrared, search and track on, maintaining strict emissions control would be completely invisible to the F-35's electronic warfare systems. The Israeli pilot made his decision. He dropped toward the city. 25,000 feet, 22,000 feet. The altimeter unwound and Tehran filled the lower half of his helmet display. Dark neighborhoods stitched between burning wreckage, smoke columns leaning east in the upper winds. The whole city glowing faintly in infrared like a half-lit fire. He was leaving his corridor, descending into airspace that had not been cleared, to protect a drone that did not know it. Needed protecting. 14 miles north, the lead MiG-29 Fulcrum pilot had been hunting for 40 minutes and finding nothing. Radar off, radio silent, infrared search, sweeping cold sky in steady arcs, looking for the thermal signature of an engine. Against the pre-dawn darkness, 5 days of strikes had taught the surviving Iranian pilots one rule: turn on your radar and that is the last mistake you will ever make. So he flew dark, patient, waiting for something to give itself away. Back in the Adir at 12,000 feet, the pilot selected his weapon, not the AMRAAM, the AIM-120's radar. Seeker goes active in the terminal phase. The Yak-130's warning receiver would detect the ping in the final seconds. Not sophisticated enough to save the crew, sophisticated enough to tell them something was shooting. A weapons officer who knows he is about to die has nothing to lose. A snap-fired R-73 at the Hermes on the way down would hit the drone before the AMRAAM hit. The Yak. The Python 5 solved that problem. Rafael's 5th-generation infrared missile, lock-on after launch. The pilot looks at the target through his helmet display. The missile launches cold, acquires autonomously, and guides itself home on infrared alone. No radar emission. No electronic signature. A ghost until impact. The Yak-130's warning system would register exactly nothing until the airframe stopped existing. The weapons bay doors split open for less than 2 seconds. The Python 5 dropped off the rail. Doors slammed shut. Inside the MiG-29, the infrared sensor spiked for a single frame, then collapsed into nothing. The contact was gone, vanished from the scope like it had never existed. He would never know what he had been tracking. The Python 5 hit the Yak-130 between the engines. The electro-optical footage released by the IDF the following day showed the airframe erupt, burning wreckage trailing. Smoke through the pre-dawn sky over the Alborz Mountains. 2 heat signatures separated from the fireball, both crew members ejecting. The aircraft that was 5 seconds from the first Iranian air-to-air victory in this war came apart over northern Tehran, while the drone it was hunting continued its orbit. Sensors pointed at the ground, completely unaware of what had just happened behind it. The pilot keyed his radio. Target down. The target is down. Continuing to strike. He did not circle. Did not watch the wreckage fall. The Adir rolled back onto its original strike heading and got back to work. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and hit the bell for more air power. Breakdowns every week. The next video covers another incredible moment you will not want to miss.